surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening.
Let us open in prayer. We say, thank you, living, loving Spirit, for this glorious day, for every being in this room, for love, for wisdom. And as we just begin to settle in to this spiritual experience, sharing our gifts with laughter and joy, we bring forth that laughter and joy into the universe. And we give thanks. And so it is. Amen. Welcome. I am Reverend Valerie Mansfield. I'm the associate minister here, and I'm so glad that you're here with us today. We're going to have a brief announcement from Chuck Fulner, our president of the board.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm sorry for interrupting what I know is going to be an excellent piece of music. I'm the president, as Val mentioned, I'm president of the board of trustees. Last week we held a community meeting to take a vote about the potential move, and we asked for the board asked for authorization to do everything we would need to do to both sell this location and buy the one at the Melbourne Heights Baptist Church. Because of the inclement weather, we didn't have that many people who were able to show up. Other folks have taken advantage of the opportunity to do absentee balloting. But we're going to reopen the last week's meeting. We're going to extend that this week after the service today. It'll take a few minutes for us to get set up. So if you weren't able to make last week's meeting and you'd like to come back and vote, we'll give you an opportunity to speak and or ask questions. Then we'll hold the vote and we'll announce the result at the end of that time. Hopefully in time to get me with my wife down to see the women's basketball team win today. So I'm very much motivated to move that process as best I can, because I dare not disappoint her. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chuck. And so now let's stand for our opening song, I Am Free.
I am free, I am unlimited, there are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited, right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited, there are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited, right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited, there are no chains are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now.
Wow, and now please be seated. As is our custom, we want to acknowledge and recognize if you're here for the first time. So if I have any first-time visitors, if you'll raise your hand, our ushers are going to bring you a welcome pack, and we won't track you down, maybe. No, really, seriously, it's just information about Unity Movement, Unity of Louisville, and there's also a candle that says that you're the light of the world. So did everybody who's a new visitor? Okay. Well, we have one over here in the back. 2. Yay. So we want to just take an opportunity to thank you for joining us today, and know that wherever you are in your spiritual path, you're welcome here. And if something doesn't resonate with you, just leave it on the floor. Somebody will get it later. And just allow yourself to enjoy the process today. So let's welcome our first-time guest. And so now we're going to come to that time when we greet each other, and we have several first-time guests here today. So you might want to put your hand out if you don't want to be embraced in loving hugs, okay? And for those of us who love to hug, remember, if somebody has their hand out, we shake the hand, okay? So let's just take this time to greet each other with love and light.
I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now.
We are free, we are unlimited, right now, right now.
Wow, please be seated. Thank you all. You know, we are truly blessed here with our wonderful team. So today we have our very own Gerry Boylan who's speaking. And special music is with Melba Harris and Gerry Boylan. Our pianist is John Spencer. And our song leaders are the cast, Deb Reinhardt Broches, Don Broches, John Reinhardt. Yeah, I know that, but I always say it wrong. Don Reinhardt, Philip Crothers, Lisa Wilbanks, and whoever else decides they want to join them up here. John. All right. So now for our affirmation. Today we are affirming that conscious creation that each of us has. So together, God's peace is mine. All things contribute to the calm peace of my soul. And it is. And now we'll do our Lord's Prayer, and afterwards we'll have a minute of silence while the energy workers, oneness blessers, chaplains surround us in this beautiful dome with love and light.
Our Creator, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever.
And so it is. A reading from our daily word, Sunday, January the 27th, and the word seize the moment. I embrace the possibilities for good in this moment. In her book, Lessons in Truth, H. Emily Cady shares this affirmation. I am a manifestation of God. In every moment, divine life, love, wisdom, power flow into and through me. Her words inspire me to begin thinking of problems as possibilities. I ask myself, what good thing is ready to happen in my life right now? I recognize my divine nature and my perspective transforms. I find meaning in every situation, every moment. The statement, wherever I am, God is, becomes a vibrant reality. Unlimited divine life, love, wisdom, and power are mine to use, not only as I move through major life events, but also in the ordinary moments of everyday life. God's life, love, wisdom, and power express in my decisions and in my actions. 1 John 3:18. Let us love, not in words or speech, but in truth and action. Amen.
I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is sacred love. I will leave this day as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this day as it is, go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is sacred love. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is sacred love. I will leave this life as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this life as it is, go inside to find my God. Go inside to find my God. I'll go inside to find my God.
And now, as we take a breath and we get comfortable upon the pew, allowing your feet to rest, your mind to rest, and your body to relax. We take a deep breath in and we let go. We let go of the hustle and bustle of getting here this morning, of whatever thoughts that we're trapped in the moment. And we just allow ourselves to be right now in this moment, and to feel the love flowing in and through each of us, touching those all around us, supporting us right where we are. We are perfect and whole in all that we say and do right now in this moment. So we take another deep breath in. And we relax further into that space within us. Going deeper inward. Connecting with that divine spirit. Your truth. No matter where you are in this journey, you are a blessing and you are blessed. We just allow ourselves to surrender. To surrender to that peace. To that calm. And that infinite presence within you. And we rest here. And now as we take a gentle breath, returning to this beautiful place, to the beauty that's inside of you, that's resting and renewed. We allow that beauty to come forth and shine. We see the beauty all around us. As we walk together in this present moment, we walk in our truth as the love. And we share that love with everyone in this place, in this beautiful place. And we share that love with everyone, every being on this planet. And we set that intention right here, right now. As this week comes through, whenever we're in struggle or challenged, we stop and take a breath and share our love. And come back to this present moment and to the moment that you're in, wherever you are on your journey. And so it is. Amen.
I will dare to dream of what you want for me. My hopes and fears I now embrace to live a life that's free.
that prosperity is mine. It's more than wishful thinking. It's a fact of the divine, and free to let go of the things that hold me down, so that in each waking moment I can see your grace abound. I will dare to dream of what you want for me. My hopes and fears I now embrace, to live a life that's free. Divine creator of the world, life giver to my soul, help me to remember that you have made me whole. So my journey starts today, like many days before. Peace, love, and joy are the wings upon which my spirit soars. So I will dare to dream of what you want for me. My hopes and fears I now embrace, to live a life that's free. I will dare to dream of what I want for me. My hopes and fears I now embrace, to live a life that's free. My hopes and fears I now embrace, to live a life that's
And y'all know Melba wrote that one. May all beings be at peace, and may all beings be free of suffering. Good morning. The joke of the week is that I'm doing a talk on conscious aging, and I forgot where I put my notes. The scripture tells us that there will come a time when your young men shall see visions and your old men shall dream dreams. Or your old people shall dream dreams. And what I was struck with was that as we, all of us, getting older, that we can dream dreams of days gone by, or we can dream dreams, as Melba's song pointed out, of dreaming about the possibilities in life that we are open to or can be open to, no matter what the external circumstances might be, no matter what might be going on with my physical body. You know, I could choose to live in the what-ifs and all the coulda, woulda, shouldas. Kind of like, you know, the marvelous Christian example of that are the two thieves on either side of the cross. One was griping and complaining, and the other one was saying, you know, I've got so much garbage here, I just like to let go of it. Forgive me. Let me let go. Or that wonderful couplet about two men looked out from prison bars, one saw mud, the other stars. They're both living out of the same reality, but they're seeing something totally different. That's a choice we have. At this point, I believe in our evolution as a species, letting go of the body, what we sometimes refer to as death, is part of the process. You know, there are some things we can change, there are some things we have power over, and some things we don't. I remember that line from the Serenity Prayer, accept the things I cannot change. Well, it's kind of interesting, you know, we apply that to many areas of our lives, but we hardly ever apply that sometimes to the physical world. So, you know, I'm buying this cream or that lotion or this thing or that thing so that I can look younger, act longer, feel younger, but I'm really not. What I'm doing is I'm creating more of an illusion that really, for me anyway, it gets me more into fear than it does get me into anything else. My body's going to change. It's going to get older. Changes are going to take place. By the way, if it's any consolation, my ego is still 3 years old. And probably will remain so until it's hanging around. We always have a choice of how we respond. You know, we can gather all of the stuff that comes with our bodies aging, and we can get into what I sometimes refer to as New Age blame, shame, and guilt. You know, we come into unity and we let go of all of that sinner stuff that we learned about, but then we learn about creating our own reality, and every time something shows up that we don't think ought to be there, we start beating ourselves up for that being there. Whereas it's usually there because we created it to be a lesson to learn something from, not because it's something bad for us. But it's really kind of interesting that we get involved in the body, you know, something that comes along that we don't want to come along, we think there is somehow something wrong with us. Whereas the real question is not what's wrong with me or why did I create this, because those are kind of intellectual questions that we're trying to answer on an intellectual basis, but they're spiritual questions that only get answered by the soul. So the real questions we need to ask ourselves is, what do I do with this? How can I hold this lovingly? How can I hold this differently? You know, I can fight with the inevitable, or I can go with it, flow with it. Dylan Thomas once wrote, "Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at the close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light." When I was living in South Dakota, I got a telephone call from the wife of my first sponsor in a 12-step recovery program, and she said, I hadn't seen her or him in a while, but she said, "Harold's in the hospital, he's dying. Would you call him up?" I said, "Of course." So I called him up on the phone. Kind of his weak voice answered, and I told him who I was. His first words were, "How are you doing?" I said, "I'm okay." I said, "But I hear you're not doing too well." I'll never forget what he said right after that. He said, "I think I've given up." And I sat with that for a moment. It was one of those moments where I really had to enter into some kind of prayer to know how to respond to that, because I knew I couldn't do an intellectual kind of response. And what I heard him saying was, somehow or another, I think I ought to be fighting this tooth and nail rather than just kind of taking my trip out of here. In other words, there's something wrong with me to stop fighting. And I remember the words that came to me at that particular moment were, "Harold, it's okay to let go." And he passed on that night. It's one of life's profound ironies for me that here was a man who helped save my life, who I was now helping let go of his body. And I believe there are lessons like that that come up to us all of the time. what we were saying to one another was, let's take a look at what we have control over and what we don't. And let's not think that healing or dying or even a body being ill are necessarily in conflict with one another. Sometimes the greatest healing that can take place with a person is that they are at peace to let go of their bodies. I have seen that happen, I can't say countless times, but I've seen it any number of times. I remember one of my teachers said, you know, that after he had a stroke, went to these number of healers, and he said, you know, at one moment I realized that I was healed. I wasn't cured, but I was healed. I still had all of the symptoms of the stroke, but I was at peace with where I was. There was no struggle in me. And it doesn't mean acceptance as a victim. It means acceptance of those things that I cannot change, those things that I know I need to flow with, and those things that I can apply my ability to work with. And so it's not victimhood, it's not surrender in the physical sense of the word, it's opening ourselves up to a deeper divine truth of who we really are. I remember when Margos' mom was in the hospital. She broke her hip and had a hip replacement. She was going through all kinds of physical therapy, really working very, very hard. I know she was breaking out in the sweat when she was trying to step on one step after the other. And I remember there was one moment when she just sort of turned it around for herself. That I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't need to do this anymore. And I remember her being wheeled up to her room. She was sitting on a gurney, and she was kind of waving to us. We were just going to go up the stairs to see her again. But she was waving, and she said, I'm going to paradise. What a wonderful, beautiful example of just simply letting go, not fighting, not struggling, and not being a victim to that either, but knowing that I am entering into a deeper state of mind, a deeper state of consciousness, where I will be even more alive than I am at this moment. Kind of like Thoreau said, oh God, to have reached the point of death and realize that I have never lived. The moment of dying, I'm going to say, well, I wish I had lost those 5 pounds. Should have tried Botox. I know I've shared this one before, but it still cracks me up. A while ago, I was playing around with my iPad, and I accidentally punched the camera button. And I looked down at the screen, and here was this little old man looking back at me. And I said, this couldn't be right. Who was that guy? Did you notice that last second that just went by? For every one of us, as we walked in here this morning, and for each second that ticks by, we have become closer to that point where we're going to release our bodies. Now, I can either be at peace with that, or as much peace as I can be with that, or I can be in anger and fear and helplessness. You know, something I learned, no matter how much you exercise, by the time you reach a certain age, everything's still moving south. And you know what? That's just the way it is. I can fight that. Now, it doesn't mean I stop exercising. It just means, you know, the results are just going to be a lot more internal than they are going to be external. In a strange, paradoxical way, we are often told that love is the antidote to fear. And so what's really fascinating about this is that the love of life is really the antidote to the fear of death. Really living deeply and living well is a reflection of the truth of who we are. Kind of the way another Dylan put it, if you're not busy being born, you're busy dying. And what are we in this moment? Am I busy being born? Am I busy dying? Surrendering into the moment, being in the present moment, is sometimes the best practice we have for peacefully letting go of the body. My problem is that I'm attached to who I think I am. And we are taught all of the time through so many ministrations of advertising and everything else that this physical instrument that we're carrying around with us, this is who you are. It's kind of like being attached to my new car or my new computer. But as soon as what happens, as soon as I buy my new car or my new computer, it's just devalued itself. And my new car, which was a new car yesterday, is not a new car today. Now I could get new car smell and spray it around. I could clean the inside and the outside and make it look like a new car. But you and I know it isn't. So what is it that I'm attached to? I'm attached to something that's no longer there. When I was living at St. X, I had a job as being the infirmarian for a short amount of time. One of my jobs was to take care of some of the older brothers. And I can remember one time when I was taking care of this one brother, I got him up out of bed, and I shifted his bag from the bed to around his leg, and got him dressed in his habit, getting ready to go up to chapel. And I looked over at him, and he was bent over like this. He was bent over double. And I remember looking at him, and I said, Josephus, I said, are you okay? And he looked at me up like this, and he goes, straight as an arrow. I said, straight as an arrow. Here's this guy telling me something that I didn't hear until 25 years later, is that this is just what my body's doing. It's not who I am. My insides, I am straight as an arrow. I am perfectly fine no matter where I am at with my body at this particular moment. And if we are truly spiritual beings having a human experience, then we realize that growing older, moving forward, is just another way of releasing ourselves from this material world. But as long as I'm identified with my ego and my personality self, old age, infirmity are all going to be sufferings that need to be avoided, that we can't. A couple of months ago, I was helping somebody die. We didn't call it that, but that's what it was. He was in 4th-stage cancer and doing chemo and diets and all kinds of other different kinds of therapies that they were trying out on him that see if they were going to work. And a lot of our work was imagery, prayer, meditation, talking together. And it was interesting, what came up most of the time with him was there was nothing that came up about physical healing. It was all about forgiveness. It was all about cleaning up some relationships. It was all about letting go of stuff. It was all about being at peace with myself no matter where I happen to be. And I remember him asking me one time, he said, should I keep fighting this, or is this my ticket out of here? And I said, Ed, I really don't know. I can't answer that for you. But I think there'll come a time for you when you'll be able to answer that for yourself. And he passed on fairly soon after that. And I look back at that time, and what I recognize the most is not only what he taught me about his release of his body, but what was so most important, I believe to both of us, but I know to me, is that we were meeting one another kind of eyeball to eyeball. I was not working with someone, he did not look at himself as someone who had cancer, someone who was sick, someone who was dying, and he wasn't looking at me as being a minister or a healer or this or that. We were just looking at one another as two human beings who happen to be in the midst of this most profound mystery of moving from one level of consciousness to another. And how can we help, how can we aid one another to do that without getting stuck in some of the old stuff we might have created for ourselves? And when I look back at that, I become tremendously grateful. Because it's tremendously complicated if we try to just sit down and explain this to one another or even to ourselves. There's no little magic formula for getting older or for getting dying. Just as each one of us lives our lives as a unique expression or reflection of the divine, so is the time or the place or the circumstance when we let go or release our bodies that is going to be different for each one of us. Love of life is the best antidote to fear of dying. The best suggestion for me as I go through this, as I walk through my own process, because each one of us has probably noticed that our daily routine changes periodically. You know, not too long ago, I just used to get up and meditate and exercise. Now I get up and I stretch my titanium knee, put in my contact lenses, put on my hearing aids, take my blood pressure medicine. Now you can meditate and exercise. I don't know what's next. I remember one of our grandson got really ticked off because the prize in his Happy Meal wasn't what he expected. And his older sister said to him, "Finn, you get what you get and you don't get upset." And she didn't say that as a judgment. That was just kind of the word out of the mouths of babes. What about rage against the dying of the light? You get what you get and you don't get upset. Whether that's a Happy Meal or wherever else that might show up. Mark Twain once said the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. The day you find out why. Why were you born? Why was I born? Why were any of us born? Eventually, we are all going to reach this realization that the reason why we are here is to be of service to one another. To love, to care, to be compassionate, to love, to be loved, to be loving. As my buddy Ram Dass likes to say, we're all walking one another home. That is our act of service, no matter what particular form that might take. It might be dramatic, it might be simple, it doesn't matter. We're here to help one another, we're here to help one another home, whatever form that takes. What would it be like if I really believed that and recognized that every moment of my life? My reason why I'm here is not to get a cup of coffee. The reason why I'm here is to serve. I don't know how you need to be served, but I can love you here in this moment. I can smile at you. I can be at peace with you. Jesus said, store up for yourself treasure in heaven where neither rust nor moth consume. Here's our choice. Darkness, struggle, ain't it awful? Or the peace that comes from knowing who we truly are. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. This is called I Choose the Light. And I think we've got we got up there on the PowerPoint, I think. So you're welcome to sing along. Welcome to sing along, clap your hands, do whatever. Glad to share this with you. This is another song about choice and about what we have to choose. A little bit country, a little bit Kenny Rogers, a little bit Gerry Boylan, a little bit Melba Harris. I choose light over darkness, love over fear, joy over pain, and because you are near, I won't travel alone. You are here by my side, and no darkness can stand with the light of the world. I choose light over darkness, love over fear, joy over pain, and because you are near, I won't travel alone. You are here by my my side, and no darkness can stand with the light of the world. A moment of sunshine, a breaking light, then the darkness descends, and nothing seems right. Was it real or imagined? This joy that was there as I sit with this question, I'm choosing the light. I choose light over darkness, love over fear, joy over pain, and because you are near, I won't travel alone. You are here by my side, and no darkness can stand with the light of the world. It's all about choice now. Feelings are facts, life full of secrets we'll never predict. There's no real control, but there is a way through when all else is failing. Well, I choose the light. For a moment I'm blessed and life is all right. Then worry creeps in and I'm lost in my doubt. It happens too often, I never know why. It's not always easy, but I choose the light. I choose light over darkness, love over fear, joy over pain, and because you are near, I won't travel alone. You are here by my side, and no darkness can stand with the light of the world. Sometimes there is nowhere to go to hide. My head gets all muddy and there's darkness inside. Well, peace would be nice, but there's wars everywhere. It doesn't seem likely, but I choose the light. There's much more to life than I could suspect. There's much more to love than I would expect. Your blessing is with me and your guidance is clear. Love makes it easy, so I choose the light. I choose light over darkness, love over fear, joy over pain. And because you are near, I will travel alone. You are here by my side, and no darkness can stand with the light of the world. I choose light over darkness, love over fear, joy over pain. And because you are here, I will travel alone. You are here by my side, and no darkness can stand with the light of the world. And no darkness can stand with the light of the world.
Wow, are we blessed or what? Woohoo! Thank you, thank you. What a blessing you are. Well, as the ushers make their way forward, we have the opportunity to give in the spiritual community where we're led and where we're fed. And we invite those folks joining us online to go to our website to give. And as Krista puts up our Divine Prosperity Proclamation, let's say that together. Together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And now let's say the prosperity affirmation together. Together, we are stewards of divine abundance. We give and receive with gratitude, and we do. Today, we're going to switch things around a little bit. And for the new folks who have no clue who this is up here, I'm Carla Knack, licensed Unity teacher. And Reverend Val, we're going to sing the children's song now before we make some other announcements. And Reverend Val is going to come with a surprise.
Promise and the hope of peace on earth, shining bright today and tomorrow. I am the light of God. You are love, you are God's promise and the hope of peace on earth, shining bright today and tomorrow. You are the light of God. We are love, we are God's promise and the hope of peace on earth, shining bright today and tomorrow. We are the light of God.
All right, I'm going to ask everybody to be seated for a minute. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to acknowledge today, first off, all of our volunteers. We love and bless you. We could not do this without you. But more important than that is we have some very special people in this congregation who have been, I'm probably going to cry, who have been serving our children for between 20 and 25 years. And we just want to take a moment because one of them is going to retire, and we want to bless them. And so, do we have? Okay, so I'm going to call the names out, and I want you to stand, and you're going to receive a gift right where you're at to honor you. Okay? So, Doreen Stein. And I want you to stay standing, Doreen, for just a minute. John Vornberger. John Russell. He's right over there. These three people were working with our nursery children when I got here, over 20 years ago. And I'm truly blessed by them. They've taught me a lot, and they sure have loved our children a lot. And we thank you. And I'd like to do a unity blessing for them. And the way it goes is, we love you. Wait a minute. We bless you. We truly appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in you, okay? Together. We love you. We bless you. We truly appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in you. Thank you for your service and your life.
This is one vibrant spiritual community, right?
Wait a minute. I'm not done. I got one more. All right. And this one will make me cry. We have a young lady who has been through Unity her entire life. She served as our international representative when she was in high school as Unity at Unity Worldwide. And now she is leaving us, going on to the world for bigger and better things. And so I want to acknowledge the work and the love that Kimberly has given us her entire life. And so we want you to know that we love you. And if we do the blessing together, please. We love you, we bless you, and we truly appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in you. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Kimberly. Well, this is a vibrant spiritual community. You can tell just by looking at your bulletin, much less the stuff that happens live. But today we have Breaking Bread at Cafe Mimosa at 1 o'clock. And that is to honor Kimberly also, as it should be. Yay! Yay! This Wednesday's Kaleidoscope, boy, if you haven't been, come on, it is a blast. This is going to be a community cafe. It's like speed dating, only you do it with questions. And get ready. If you want to celebrate Valentine's Day in a great way, come to the dance party on February the 15th between 6 and 8. There's sign-up sheets in the social room, and we'll be doing all kinds of things. You can read it in your bulletin. Take this home, hang it on your refrigerator. And lastly, on Sunday, March the 3rd, for those of you who are closet performers, it's time to come out in our variety show. Come and present whatever you're great at. And thank you very much. And now, together, we are going to say our prayer for protection and then sing our peace song. Please stand.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us.
Wherever we are, God is.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be our joy